evening, everyone. Thank you for all coming out on a summer evening. The regular meeting of the Wayne Westland Community School Board of Education is now brought to order on Monday, July 30th, 2018. On behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. Your attendance this evening reflects the interest in local education and is greatly appreciated. At this time, I'd like to call Courtney Taylor and AJ Holt up to the front. They're going to lead us in the pledge. So you can, Dr. Townsell has the mic there for you. If everyone can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is right over here. Here comes AJ, if you guys want to wait. AJ's coming. He's got to put his glasses on. This is important.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Hines, roll call, please.
Mr. Cox?
Present.
Mr. Buckaloo is excused. Dr. Weaver?
Present.
Ms. Hines present. Ms. Madison?
Present.
Ms. Medell is excused. Ms. Walker?
Present.
Let the record show 5-2.
5-0. Okay.
5-0.
So we have enough for a quorum. I just want to let everyone know if we can just keep Ms. Medell in our thoughts. She had surgery today. We haven't heard anything so far, but I'm sure that everything went well and she'll be on the road to recovery. And Mr. Buckaloo had already had some plans that couldn't be changed for this evening. So moving forward, let's go on to item number 102.18, recognitions and presentations. Dr. Holt.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, President Walker, Board of Education, and esteemed members of our community and other communities that are interested in the future of Wayne Westland Community Schools. Tonight being the first board meeting of the 18-19 school year, we are going to provide a recap of what we have learned in my first year as your superintendent and help address some of the elephants in the room that have brought some of us out this evening. In coming here from California, I saw a beautiful community as I rode through right down Wayne Road. And I did not know where I was. I just knew that this was a community that I wanted to be in. I met people like Cal DeLuca, who was so passionate in his description of why he enjoys teaching that he became emotional, telling me about how physical education changes students' lives. I met Jennifer Morris, who took in my son as he struggled to make the transition here. And I met people like Mrs. Linda Sparkey, who does as much for our children outside of the classroom as she does inside. A few of the things that I wanted to review is that there were 5 major areas of concern as I entered the district. This place that I had grown to love. The more I talked to folks and the more I got into what was happening, we have some pretty large areas where we wanted to make some changes. Those areas included, first of all, student growth and achievement. I'm going to go over the student achievement data for the last few years here in Wayne Westland. And it was a struggle, honestly, sometimes to just look at the data. And I realized that after a while, the student achievement data was not the center of many conversations occurring in the district. The picture of the data upon my arrival is what I'll share with you today. There were also many challenges within student discipline. I call that climate and culture. It's a bit of a softer term. And then we also had to talk about the impacts of trauma within our community. That's something that's happening nationwide. And here in Wayne Westland, we had some special circumstances, particularly with the dissolution of the Inkster School District, that led to some trying times and situations here in Wayne Westland. In hindsight, we can always wonder, did we handle that just right? I also saw one of the 5 major areas of concern being connections to the community. There were many communities that we serve here. We serve Romulus, Canton, Inkster, Wayne, and Westland. Those are very different communities. And over time, these communities have changed. We also have a very strong business community and a very strong faith-based community that we needed to reconnect to in order to truly move the district in the direction that we needed to go to improve student achievement. We also had some pretty dire staff recruitment and retention issues. Some of our staff have had pay freezes for almost a decade. Almost a decade. One of the larger elephants was the relationship between central office and the buildings. This was alluded to in the Hewlings report that came out in February of this year. And we're going to speak a little bit to that, but also talking about our challenges is not going to do much about it. Taking action to do something different is what we needed to do here in Wayne Westland. I also realized in being your new superintendent that change is a relatively new concept here in Wayne Westland. We've done a lot of things the same way for many years, with small tweaks here and there, but the kind of change that we needed to do to address the needs that were presented here, we hadn't quite embarked upon just yet. As I talked to my teachers, many of which were leaving, I heard two things. One, I could either change working conditions, and I needed to change wages. Folks needed to make more, and the environment that we were working in needed to be different. Well, I couldn't change wages in my first year. I could definitely do a little something about the working environment. That being said, I want to show you a bit of the academic achievement data, and then you're going to hear from each department some of their successes, challenges, and their next steps as we move forward. This is a two-part presentation, the first part being tonight, and the second part where we will share our 5-year plans coming on August 20th. So let's talk a little bit about the elephant in the room when it comes to student achievement data. What's going on with our kids and our main thing that we do here in Wayne Westland? As you can see here, this graph I know is a bit tiny, but we're going to get to the other side of it. We had about 25% of our students proficient in English language arts in 3rd grade, and about 28% in mathematics in 3rd grade. Why is 3rd grade so important? Well, the legislation has recently changed, and now with the 3rd grade reading law coming into effect, we will have to take action if students are not proficient. Based upon this data, 75% of our students are not at grade level in 3rd grade. That's a challenge that we need to face. Moving on to 4th grade, we have a bit higher results, but one thing that was interesting is about 7.5% of our students were proficient in science in 4th grade. 7.5%. These are some of the numbers that were hitting me as I was coming into the district. Moving on to the next slide where we talk about upper elementary, which is our 5th and 6th grade classes. A little less than 10, meaning 9.9%. 9.9% of our kids were proficient in mathematics in grade 5. This is in the 16-17 school year. 9.8% of our 6th grade students are proficient in mathematics. And we know that mathematics is a gateway to the future for many of our children. And we also know that we need there's a lot of gaps within mathematics instruction that we need to address in order to truly move towards proficiency. Moving along to middle school, you can see that about 15% of our students are proficient in mathematics in grade 7, with about 28% of our students being proficient in English language arts in grade 7. 13.5% of our 8th graders were proficient in mathematics. In social studies, we had about 15.9%. And in English language arts in 8th grade, 27% of our students are proficient. At the high school level, we had about half of our students proficient at one high school and about 43% in the other on the SAT. In 2015 school year, we switched from the ACT to the SAT. That can allow for some of the shift, But as we move forward, we knew that we had to look at that SAT exam a bit more strategically to ensure that our students are performing at the highest level possible. Oftentimes when we talk about the data, we talk about it in positive terms. And up until this point in my superintendency, I've always spoken about the number of children that are proficient. But here's what I look at when I go home. This is what I see. 75% of our children are not proficient. 90% of my students in the upper elementaries are not proficient. This is a problem. We are not going to be able to attract people to our community if we are not performing adequately academically. At the end of the day, everything else aside, this is the main thing. This is what my teachers were talking about. This is what my teachers were telling me, Dr. Holt, please help us. We need to do something different. We need support. We need our kids to behave themselves so that we can actually teach. We need them in school because some of them aren't coming to school. I can't teach a mind that's not here. We want to do well. We know what we need to do. That's what I was hearing in my interviews with teachers. I was very surprised after learning so much about our community by the disconnect between the view of our working and learning environment from the perspective of central office compared to building leadership, educators, and support staff. It came to points where I was overwhelmed with the need for positivity. So we just started doing some positive things, recognizing folks for the positive things that they're doing, because at the end of the day, we have to focus on what we can do versus what we can't do. This was another graph that really kind of moved me when we talk about making some shifts and some changes. This particular graph it charts growth and proficiency on the same graph, and it has us compared to many of the other districts in Wayne County, and it also has our fund balance on it, how much we get paid per student. We get $76.31. I take that back. We get $78.71 for next year. And so we did have an increase in our funding balance coming up. But you can see that with Wayne Westland, we have low growth and low proficiency. And when we compare that with other districts that get the same amount of money, we're still in the low growth, low proficiency range. We have to do things different. And that is very challenging because we all know the only thing that likes change is a wet baby. Nobody likes change. Nobody likes change. I'll say it again. Nobody likes change, and I understand that. But we have to do something different if we're expecting a different result. In addition to this, what we also have is every year we're losing about 300 students a year. 300 students, one year after the other, losing that amount of money. We have to do things differently. Doesn't mean we have to do it all differently at once, but we have to do things differently. On October 29th, I received a call from the late Brian Whiston. He called me and he informed me that Wayne Westland Community Schools was going to be invited to be a part of a partnership agreement. This invitation is much like when your mother invites you to take out the trash. It's not really an invitation. It's saying that, we need to do things differently. I have to commend the team that we have here in Wayne Westland because we pulled together and we put together a partnership agreement that really focused on the key areas where we know we need the greatest growth and support. There are 3 major areas that we're looking at addressing over the next 3 years within our partnership agreement, particularly as it relates to student achievement and academics. The first is climate, culture, and social emotional learning. I realize that for many that might be a new term. For those of us who have been studying this phenomena over about the last decade, along with multi-tiered system of supports, it's not necessarily a new term, but getting the work done is going to be a challenge. In order to do goal 1, what I had to do was create a system of support here centrally to be able to provide support to the school sites. In layman's terms, I needed someone at the school site that is going to focus on this goal number 1. Somebody to focus on that. Number 2 was instructional practices. I was hearing from my teachers and my leaders that we need help instructionally. We don't even have an ELA curriculum. That's what I would hear. Well, we do, but it's not what we really, really want to have. I remember walking into Jen Morris's class one day to pick up AJ, and her co-teacher were sitting there telling me about how they were going to a workshop to be able to create a phonics curriculum. Creating curriculum is not the role of teachers. I'll say it again. Creating curriculum is not the role of our teachers. Instructing and thinking about how to teach the curriculum is the role of our teachers. Creation of curriculum happens on a state and district level. So that was a huge red flag for me when I have teachers that are spending time doing something that they don't need to be doing and are still struggling with things like behavior and discipline and attendance, et cetera, et cetera. So we needed to have somebody at the school site that was strictly focused on helping instructionally. That's where the instructional coaches came from. The first one is where the climate and culture coaches came from, somebody to really help with that. Finally, employee, community, and governmental relations. We needed help with recruitment and retention, but also in connecting with our community. Countless times I would meet with community members who said, I've been trying to get in Wayne Westland for years. And I'm going, well, here we are. We haven't moved, not that I know of. But inviting people from the community to come in and say, we want your help, we want your support, and we need you to help us with the work that we have to do moving forward. At the end of the day, I'm a member of this community, and I want to ensure that each and every one of us is improving in student achievement. I also want to ensure that with improved student achievement, our property values go up. We need our property values to go up in our community as well to attract residents. That being said, our team is going to walk through a bit of what we have been doing to begin to support these efforts on a global scale, and then also specifically for the school sites.
Thank you, Dr. Holt. I'm Jill Simmons, Assistant Superintendent of Employee, Community, and Governmental Relations. I'd like to start with our successes, and the first of that being that I have a fully staffed administrative team, an ECGR, is our acronym. We have family and community engagement supervisors. Amanda was our Family Resource Center coordinator. She's been with the district for 9 years and was recently promoted into the supervisor role. Maria is her counterpart in that area. She spent 5 years previously as the Family Resource Center coordinator prior to Amanda, and then spent the past 10 years working with Bright Futures in our district, and then came back to Wayne Westland to join our team, so we're thrilled to have her. Jenny Johnson is our Director of Communications. She worked for 15 years with the district under contracted services, and then has spent the past 3 years as a direct hire through the district. I have 2 administrative assistants who combined have about 25 years of experience in the district. So I'm just happy to share that information, and then I want to talk about a few more of our successes. We developed a staff attrition, attraction, and retention committee where we have members of various staff throughout the district who participate on that committee. We also have an advisory team, and if anyone in the community is interested in participating on that team, you can visit the district's website and fill out an application or a form. It's not an application, it's just an interest form essentially, and then submit that, and we'd be happy to have you join that advisory team. We developed Going the Extra Mile, which has been tagged the GEM Award in March of just this past school year, and we recognized 43 staff members to date, and we plan to increase and grow that program in the 18-19 school year as well. We have redesigned the recruitment website as the teacher shortage is real, not just in Wayne County and Michigan, but nationwide. So we're having to reach out and try to attract and recruit from different sources. We developed an internal transfer request for teachers that we implemented for the 18-19 school year that went into place this summer. It's actually an administrative regulation now that has been shared out. I believe that's working really well. It's giving teachers an opportunity to stay in the district and move into positions that they are interested in. We held the State of the District address. Dr. Holt held that right here, actually earlier this school year, and invited the community in to learn more about the district. We have This Week in Wayne Westland, a weekly communique that is shared out with staff on a weekly basis, and it's broken down by all of the divisions, supply pertinent information that we believe that staff needs to be aware, so we're just trying to increase that transparency and communication. We've established Leadership Council expectations for making sure that information that is shared with Leadership Council, which are our union presidents, our building administrators, and central office administrators, that information is then being disseminated at the building level so that everyone is getting the same information. And we've established central office and building level parent and community liaisons. I spoke about the family and community engagement supervisors. We've increased our Family Resource Center from 1 that was located at Adams Upper Elementary School to 3. We've added Taft Elementary and John Glenn. Those will be up and running, for the 18-19 school year. Additionally, with the restructure that has taken place in central office, this is a summary to show the central office administrator salaries. We consider this a success with all of the transformation, that we've been able to hold pretty steady on the salary amounts. So you can look dating back to 2013-14 going forward. There's not a lot of variance there. Our challenges, staff retention and attraction. We've spoken about the teacher shortage, and I'll go into a little bit more information in the following slides about other reasons that we're having a hard time retaining and attracting staff. Salary and compensation, communications, that transparency, making sure that everyone is getting the same information, and then family and community engagement, getting people involved in the schools. So the next several slides are going to show charts that show the total number of all staff that have left the school district in the last 10 years, and then that will be broken down by bargaining unit. So our teachers union, our central office administrators, paraprofessionals, there are 8 groups in total. So this first slide shows all staff data dating back to the 2008-2009 school year, and the number at the top of each bar is indicative of how many staff we lost in that year. So we've had an upward trend going on for several years now. And then if you review the next couple of slides, I won't go into too much detail, but you can see broken down. BOSS are skilled trades. The WWAP, those are our paraprofessionals. WABA are our building administrators. WCOA are our central office administrators. So the last column there is 18-19, preceded there by 17-18, but you can see clearly this is not a unique year for the number of staff that we are losing as far as turnover goes. WISA, this is just more information on the specific bargaining units. WISA are our building secretaries. Local 4 includes our transportation, bus drivers, food service, and student monitors. The WWEA, those are our teachers. And then cabinet are the assistant superintendents and the superintendent. Since 2015, we have provided employees with an opportunity to complete an exit survey through a Google Doc. You can see here that we were able to summarize the major reasons people are leaving the district. 71%, almost 72% were for resignation for new employment. Then we move on to almost 20% for retirement, and then 9% were for other. And so then we drill down a little bit deeper that if new employment was your answer for leaving the district, what was the reason for your new position? And 59% stated a better salary, 19% were for a more convenient location, 6% indicated for a promotion, and then 15% were for other, but we've given them an opportunity to share with us why, so we can try to track that information. A little bit further information is if you were a teacher, are you leaving the teaching profession? Because that's something that we frequently hear back. 32.6%, I'm sorry, 32.6% indicated that yes, they were leaving the profession altogether, which then adds more to the teacher shortage. And this one is very telling. Would you recommend the district as a good place to work? 75% indicated yes, that they would recommend the district as a good place to work. One of the other challenges as far as retaining staff, I'll start with the salaries. So this is the teacher's salary compared to surrounding districts where we typically lose staff to. So it indicates Livonia, Plymouth, Canton, Ann Arbor, and Wayne Westland. Our starting BA, so that's the bachelor scale, so this is typically new teachers coming right out of college. Sorry, that dropped down. Our starting salary for the 18-19 school year is $37,706. That has increased from 2 school years ago from the 16-17 school year where we were as low as $34,266. So we are trying to get those numbers up through contract negotiations, but for this year, you can still see that we are significantly lower than surrounding districts. And then it also has information to show the masters. So these are teachers who have a master's degree. They're starting out at $41,772, but still significantly lower than other areas. Before I get to the next steps, I want to share just a little piece of personal information. I was one of those individuals who wasn't real keen on the idea of change. I've been with the district for 8 years. There was a lot of talk. There were a lot of people that were upset when change started occurring, so much so that I almost bought into that frenzy, and I seriously began to look for other employment. But I couldn't. I could never fully hit that submit button. I couldn't commit to anything other than Wayne Westland. I am Wayne Westland. I live here. I put my kids, I pulled them out of private school. I put them into the district in 5th and 6th grade. My son just graduated and is attending Bowling Green State University in 23 more days. And my daughter just finished her college visit tour this past week and has a bright future ahead of her as well because of the staff in Wayne Westland. So I'm not going anywhere, and I hope that my team doesn't go anywhere either. So for our next steps, pardon me, I'm like, we are expanding the recruitment efforts. I'm not giving up on Wayne Westland. I'm not giving up on getting the best and brightest teachers in the classrooms because that's what our kids deserve. If they're not good enough for my kids, they're not good enough for anyone's kids. We are creating a new onboarding and district mentor program for new staff to help support them and to get them through those challenges so that we don't have them leaving the profession in their first 5 years. That's just not acceptable. They invested a lot of time and money into their college education, and they shouldn't turn around and want to give up within the first 5 years. We are expanding our student-teacher partnerships. We want to get them in the door while they're still in school, get them into the Wayne Westland ways, get them to love our culture, love our kids, train them to work with the kids in need and those that aren't in need as well. And then they don't ever want to leave Wayne Westland, and we're building a pool. And then we will start contract negotiations. We've been working as a team to make sure that we have funds available so that we can negotiate and get those salaries up to be competitive with our surrounding districts. And that's our goal going into negotiations in January of 2019.
Good evening. As you know, the Office of Academics includes 4 departments. We have Standards Learning and Innovation, Professional Learning and Accountability, Culture, Climate, Social Emotional Learning, and the Special Education Department. Dr. Townsell and I lead all 4 of those departments. I, along with Ms. Simpsons, I have been in the district now for 20 years. I was a teacher. I truly thought I'd be a kindergarten teacher forever. I was a teacher, principal, now assistant superintendent. I call myself a Wayne Westland lifer. I love the district. I'm fortunate enough within our OAE team, we have people that we work with on our team who have been in the district a very long time. For example, Kate Brohl, who's one of our executive director, has been in the district for 17 years. Joe Orban, 23 years. Jenna Mullins, 13 years. Shavana Johnson joined us this year. And we have a really great, solid foundation, and I feel that we are doing many good things, which you'll hear about in the upcoming slides. We are very excited about our new leadership within our special education department and eager for the new school year to begin. I would like to introduce Dr. Harris, who is going to be a consultant who will be working with us and our special education team. I'd like to invite her up to the podium just for a few minutes to talk about the work that she'll be doing with us.
Thank you for the introduction, and I did hear the word few minutes, okay?
You can go a little over. It's good.
You know my name, but I first want to tell you I am a lifelong learner, and the speed limit in front of John Glenn High School is 25 miles an hour. I'd like to share with you a little bit about my experience. I know that my resume has been shared, but I worked as a special education teacher, a teacher consultant, assistant director, and a director of special education here in Michigan. My other experiences include a general ed teacher here in Wayne Westland at Roosevelt McGrath. Let me hear some shout outs. Somebody, Roosevelt. An assistant principal of a middle school, and also a assistant principal of a high school. I retired in 2007. It didn't stick, so I retired on June 30th. On July 1st, I went to the state. I became the assistant director for the state of Michigan for special education. After 3 years, I became the state director for special education for the state of Michigan. I retired again, and I went to the Education Achievement Authority because they needed help. My heart was not in bureaucracy. My heart isn't working in schools. And so I worked with the EAA for 2 years before becoming an independent contractor. I just want to tell you a little bit about what I believe an independent contractor should do. In special education, we like acronyms, IEP. The I is identify challenges and inform leadership. E, eradicate the barriers and empower the teams. P, plan to move forward and to prepare staff to work without my presence. I'd like to say that obviously if you, anyone did any of the math or looked at any of the years where I received degrees, I started prior to federal legislation. And besides the fact that it may give you a clue of my age, what it also tells you is I'm very familiar with change. And so that's what I think that I have embraced over my years in my career. Michigan is the only state in the union, including the territories, that has been identified as needs intervention, the only state. So the changes that need to happen in Wayne-Westland are changes that need to happen in every district across the state. So the challenges that you might hear later in the presentation are not specific only to this district. They're changes that need to occur in many places. We need to do special education differently in order to be successful in our schools. I want to say before I step away that I've worked with Charlie, Diane, Kathy, and Nancy in alphabetical order who have, hi Charlie, and then who are administrators, and I have a lot of respect for the work that they've done, and I just wanted to make sure that I included that in my statement. Thank you. I hope I can answer questions at any future time that you might have.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Townsell, who's going to go over our successes and challenges.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Townsell, Assistant Superintendent within the Office of Academic Excellence. I'm very excited to be a part of this amazing community. I came on board March of 2018, and I was living with my parents. Now I had an opportunity to settle in on a house. I closed this past Thursday, and I hope I could be a Wayne-Westland lifer like you guys. So I'm going to jump right in. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. One thing I do know is that I joined an amazing team here in this district. And when I came on board in March, this team was, they were flying down the road. And I just jumped on board and got in where I could fit in, and we did some amazing work. So to talk about some of the successes, each one of our schools will receive at least one instructional coach and one climate and culture coach, with the exception of our high schools. Our high schools will receive 2 instructional coaches as well as 2 culture and climate coaches. And we've already went through 3 series of interviews, and we have 2 more series of interviews with climate culture coaches, and shall have those positions 100% filled by this Thursday with all of the candidates that came out. And that is the same with our instructional coaches. Also, this past year, all of our administrators received restorative practice training. Now, if you've been following our Board of Education meetings, restorative practice is a law. Restorative practices must be considered as an alternative to suspensions prior to choosing a suspension. Special education staffing process has been established. The opening of 2 kindergarten ASD classrooms at Roosevelt McGrath for all of our students this fall. Maintaining our OT-PT staff, minus 1 retirement. Our team worked extremely hard on the 21H grant, whereas we were approved for $139,000 awarded. Retention and acceleration process complete. Common School Improvement format aligned with our 5D framework complete. Recipient of the Early Literacy Instruction Grant for $1,680,000 awarded. Instructional rounds for training for all of our administrators, including the HES Cognitive Rigor Matrix. K4 will be using the standards-based report card in fall of 2018. K8 math reboot scheduled August 18. K6 principals receive professional development on the third grade reading law requirements and essential literacy practices. And those principals, our principals, will share this information with their staff in the fall. We created the Professional Learning Center for all of our staff. And one of this just in, we've just been awarded the partnership with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Metropolitan Detroit through the UAW to provide mentorships for our young people. And if you know anything about research, mentorship is the game changer when you want academic achievement. Now to those were just some of our successes, but we definitely have challenges. The work is not done. In fact, it's just begun. Number one is overall academic achievement, and Dr. Holt had the opportunity to walk us through our academic achievement over the past 5-6 years. That is the main thing, and we will keep the main thing the main thing. The continuum of services is a challenge. Our graduation rate must improve. It's a challenge. We must improve our consistency and communication across Wayne-Westland Community School District. And last, which is extremely important, is the disproportionality that lies within our suspension data. And this is an issue that's not unique to Wayne-Westland. This is an issue that is nationwide. And data collected by our Office of Civil Rights shows that youth or young people of color are disproportionately suspended from school compared to their white counterparts. Also, according to the Encyclopedia of Social Work, disproportionality refers to the ratio between percentage of persons in a racial or ethnic group compared to others that are experiencing an event such as suspension. And now we're going to dive into a little bit of our data and to show you what we mean specifically with regards to disproportionality. This is the past 3 years. And we're looking at enrollment by ethnicity. In this past academic year, as you can see, all of our young people of color made up 49% of our student population. 37% of them were African American students. Now, if you look at our data, you see where the suspension disparities or disproportionality lies. Although, let me get this right. Although our, for example, African American young men as a district make up 37% of our enrollment, they make up 55% of the suspensions overall in our district. And our young people of color who make up less than 50% of our student population, they make up 63% of our suspensions. And this goes a little deeper. If you want to break it down, you can see it's different, or it's definitely apparent at the secondary level. And this next graph shows suspensions versus enrollment for our young people of the 2017-18 school year. And it talks about that data. So specifically looking at African American students that make up 39% of our population in the secondary level, they make up nearly 60% of all suspensions. And all students of color who make up 50% of our population collectively make up 67% of our suspensions. And that goes on if you want to look at our high schools. For example, Wayne Memorial High School, looking at John Glenn High School, Stevenson Middle School, as well as Franklin Middle School, the data is consistent across the board. And that is a challenge. That's why the United States Department of Education and the Office of Juvenile Justice wrote a joint letter to the White House saying, please, we must rethink discipline. And that's what we're doing, and it's now Michigan law that restorative practices must be considered, and that's what we're doing, especially with the additions of our climate culture coaches and our instructional coaches. With that, I'm gonna turn it back over to Jen Curry to talk about our next steps.
Okay, within our next steps, I think the one that excites me the most, just because I have that elementary background, is to adopt an ELA curriculum, and we're truly hoping to do that next year. We truly want to look at the district with one vision, one voice, climate and culture prevention, oops, My microphone's dropping again, sorry. Develop a district technology plan, which includes a plan for one-to-one devices, clear, appropriated, and consistent expectations and consequences. There will be a code of conduct book coming out for all schools come August, so that will be rolled out here pretty soon. Data-driven decision-making and helping our principals and teacher understand really what that is and what it looks like. And distribution of updated administrator guidelines will be given to all of our leadership council in August. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Jen. I'm going to go over the business maintenance and operations, the successes. I am very happy to report that our fund balance should end this school year at about $16 to $18 million. This has been a long road from the salary and benefit reductions of 2013-14, and I recognize this has been a challenge and frustrating for all staff and their families. I thank all of you. It truly has been a group effort to get to where we're at. Financially, the district is in the best position it has been since 2007-8. There are multiple reasons why we are in this position, but again, I will say it was a group effort with all staff. Then moving on to zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting, we've been working with administrators and staff. We are focusing expenditures. We're trying to prioritize and get to expenditures that have the biggest bang for the buck. That brings us to academic return on investment. This is program evaluation to determine which programs provide the, again, biggest benefit or the bang for the buck. Some programs may grow as a result of evaluation, others may be eliminated. Registration, several years ago we went to an online registration and we brought it into central office. We are going to a new online system through RISA, and we're going to be returning that to the schools for better customer service. Something I'm really proud of, and this, again, everybody is a part of this, our award-winning financial statements. For the 18th year in a row, I believe it is, we have received the certificate. You'll receive that probably when the audit is reported in October. So it's a big accomplishment. Challenges, need for systems, processes, and procedures. There are areas that we need to improve for transparency and also for planning purposes. We will continue to refine the zero-based budgeting process to get that aligned better with our strategic plan and student success. We'll transition and refine new roles to the business division. Registration came over, program evaluation, a couple areas I was really excited about, athletics and music programs, and technology. You know, I had opportunity to work with the ADs and the music staff. You know, great group, great staff. They're just really passionate about what they do. So next steps, work to increase our financial planning with the buildings departments. Some of the areas that we're looking at would be credit cards, check requests. Some of those, they are better for better budget management. Probably couldn't say that 3 times fast, but and internal processes and procedures, again, it'll be clear and efficient. This is transparency. We want to be open with everything that we do. Expenditures will be continue to be related to student growth and success. This is largely through zero-based budgeting and academic return on investment or program evaluation. And again, that's the last part, academic return on investment. I want to touch on the bond a little bit. I don't know if people know that we have a bond issue that will be coming up on the ballot November 6th. And the board will be reviewing and approving that resolution tonight to place that on the ballot. An interesting thing, the cost to a household with market value of $100,000, you can read it up there. The point that I make here is we will be paying less on this bond than we were on the old bond in 2016. Now, through some refinancing, we're able to decrease that the last 2 years, but again, that was because we had low interest rates and we had the opportunity to lower that payment, and we did. So that our taxpayers received a benefit the last 2 years. School closures have not been determined. That was what we had said up front, and we do not have schools that we know of that will be closed at this point. That will be a process that we'll work through over the next year. Bond steering committees are being formed and will be ongoing. We are also, we've interviewed architects. Paul Wills from Plant Moran Cressel will go over that process, but that's really the kickoff. This chart is just, again, going back to 2016. We were paying 5.56 mils on our last bond. This bond, you're going to pay at 4.48 mils. So it's a savings instantly over the previous debt. And
So in summary, oh, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't know who did summary, sorry.
Sorry. So in summary, there's a lot going on here in Wayne Westland, and we know this. There are several areas where the initial human reaction is to try to place blame. Something I have been saying since day one is we have to hold people blameless. That is the only way for us to move forward. So the goal here is not to point fingers and to blame and to say this person did this or that person did that. The goal is to figure out how we can move forward together. We have to, I do not believe in throwaway people, and I believe that we have to work together. But we have to be willing to change if we're going to move forward. We cannot continue to do the same things and expect to get a different result. We have to do things a bit differently. When we want big differences, we have to make big changes. We want small differences, we make small changes. I do believe that we have passionate people here in Wayne Westland. I am a resident of this community. My children are in this community. I believe in our community. I believe in our teachers. I walked the classrooms. I saw the instruction that was happening. We have very, very talented teachers in our district. Very talented. We have talented building level leaders. We have very talented people in our district across the board. But we do have some lapses in some of the training that we need in order to move forward in the way that we need to move forward. We can no longer ignore that we had an entire community of children that lost their entire district. We had a community here who at best was maybe a little lukewarm about them coming. We put these communities together, and when you have communities come together like that, you must structure and nurture the change. We are going to structure and nurture the change as we move forward. We have to bring people together. We have to come together around this bond. Part of the way that we're going to move forward to get the steps and column raises and salary that we need is the bond measure. And there have been certain things happening in our community that have threatened that bond. I won't allow it. We have to move forward together. This afternoon, I met with all of the union presidents, and we came together, and we know that we have to be together in order to move this bond measure. This is our community, and we will move our community. So what can we do to help? Because this is not something that I or this team or this board can do alone. We cannot do this alone. We need your help. First and foremost is be positive. We have to spread the good news. Jerry Gore said, you have to spread good news like it's bad news. Bad news all of a sudden gets I don't know how many shares. Just saying.
Right.
The good news, we're struggling to get in double digits. So we have to spread the good news of what's happening here in Wayne Westland. We have a great community. We have great teachers. We have great leaders, and we will turn this around. This is not our end game. This is not the end of the story for Wayne Westland. We have to go to the source if we have questions. Change is hard. It's hard on all ends. It's hard for us to be able to communicate everything that people want to know, and it's hard on the receiving end to change if you don't know why we're changing things. We have to do better at communicating. That happens on both ends. Go to the source if you have challenges. Each and every one of the people here is a source. They have the information. We sit on executive cabinet. We do our very best to try to know as much about what's going on and make decisions collectively as a team. So if there are questions or there's consternation, we ask that you come to us. Give us a call. I know many people have my cell phone number and that of our executive cabinet and our board members. Pick up the phone and give us a call. We're more than happy to talk about it. And if we can't talk about it at the time, we will say, I have information on that, but I can't tell you right now. Often, so right now, our data is embargoed. I would love to tell you about the whole community about our scores, but it's embargoed right now. So there's some things that at times we can't tell at the time people want to know. Couldn't even tell the board yet, and I want to. The third thing is be involved in our advisories. Part of what I realized coming here is there wasn't a forum for two-way communication in the community or with our staff. There was some ways through like monthly newsletters that we could get information out, but there wasn't really a systemic approach to get information in. And there wasn't a way to have our voices heard at the table. We have created 10 different advisories that are going to be launched next year. The advisories have staff from the action team and community members. Each and every person in this room can be part of one of the advisories, and you have, I believe it's a yellow sheet with you to become a member of one of those advisories. The advisories meet 4 to 6 times per year, but that is the place to have your voice heard and also to meet with the group to continue to have your voice heard here in the district. We don't know what's going on until you tell us. I'll say it again. We don't really know what's going on and your thoughts and your emotions about it until you tell us. So please, let us know. The next thing is to get involved with the schools, mentor, read, sponsor, connect. Send us the best kids you have. Wherever you got, go ahead and send them. We know how to teach them. We know what to do. And what we don't know, we will learn together. Finally, refer good people to Wayne Westland and support us as we move forward with this bond measure, because we know we need to pay our teachers, our staff, our support staff, and our leaders a livable and comparable wage with others in the area. With this bond measure, we'll be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Holt. So at this time, we're going to go to item number 103.18. I'm sorry if the light is really bright. So 103.18, citizen comments. Just a reminder that we have a large number. This board it's not our policy to answer questions right away when you have concerns or to go back and forth with you. That's why although it might not be the law, it is the best procedure in doing things is to fill out one of these and that someone would get back with you with accurate information. Because it's easy for someone to come here and ask a question and for us to shoot off from the hip, and then we might not be giving you the correct information. Because although we are the Board of Education, we are human, and each one of us have a lot of information that we retain, and we want to make sure that you get your question answered by the appropriate person within the appropriate time with appropriate information. So if there's anyone in the audience that has citizen comments on agenda items only, at this time is for agenda items. We have 3 minutes to speak. If you have someone who has the same thing, or you're in a group and are pretty much speaking on the same thing, if you could have one person speak for you, that'll work too. So is there anyone that wants to speak on any agenda items?
I just want to say there's more blue forms in the box out there.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, no one is yours on agenda item? Okay. So when you come to the podium, can you say your name and your address? Mr. Gochi, are you going to be speaking on both the agenda and for regular citizen comments? Because we only have one sheet from you.
Yeah, just agenda
Okay, thank you.
and overall.
I'm sorry?
I said just agenda.
And just the agenda, okay.
Yeah. Good evening. For those that don't know me, my name is John Gochi. I'm a former school board member here. for many, many years, and I've helped get most of the board elected. And one of the main reasons I got them elected is because
Okay, agenda items only.
it is agenda
please.
item.
Okay.
It's related to the agenda. One of the main reasons was because the superintendent was a bully, vindictive individual, Dr. Barrissey.
Mr.
And-
Gochi, please stick to the agenda and not be.
Okay,
rambling.
fair enough. I'll
Okay.
just, go
Please,
right
thank
to the
you.
agenda. It's come to my attention that pretty much all of central office has either left or
Mr.
is
Gochi,
leaving.
please stick to the agenda. You can speak, but you have another.
It is in relation to the agenda because there's a lot of people in here that are still leaving that are not on the agenda. Dr. Scheidler's name is not on here, he's leaving. There's a lot of people leaving. And I've gotten letters after I put a Facebook post asking that question, why are all these people leaving? I haven't had any contact with the board since 2012. I've been dealing with my life, moving on.
You don't live in the district anymore.
I pay a lot of taxes. I'm
Okay.
in the district. I have a serious connection to the district. This district made me who I am. I went to Wayne Westland schools. It is 90% of the education I got outside of 1 year of college, and I've been doing great out there with it. And it's very important that we protect this educational system because I've had people call me, come up to me. What they're telling me is terrifying me what this district is in for. And what they're telling me is that you guys have hired the wrong superintendent that is making people's lives miserable. They're jumping ship for lesser money. People in administration make good money. I can see the teachers leaving because they can't pay their bills out of college. They got to get a second job because of the starting wage here. But when I hear top tier paid people, you guys lost the superstar right here. And he went to Birmingham. When your employees leave and go to Birmingham, you had damn good employees. And you guys need to look into it as a board, seriously, and quick. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on agenda items only? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Pastor Virgil Humes. I'm the pastor of New Hope Baptist Church in Wayne, Michigan. And thank you to the board, to the staff, and to Dr. Hope. And I just heard the comment. I wanted to speak on community engagement. I believe that's on the agenda. And I wanted to thank Dr. Hope personally, because when Dr. Hope came, I want to say that as many people, I'm not sure how many people are leaving, but as many are leaving, we got good folks coming in. And I consider myself and my church one of the good people. And we also have a lot of good folks that are still here.
Right.
And I represent a congregation, and I'm quite sure some of my colleagues in our community, we represent folks in the community that want to encourage people to stay here. I know Trustee Weaver. I've known him for many years. I've been here for 28 years, and we've had much contact with each other. And I know many other board members or the trustees here. But I want to say, Dr. Hope, my church, we've adopted, since we've taken on other students, other schools, we've adopted Hicks Elementary School. And we've done a good job at doing that. We've given thousands of items to the families and the children of Hicks Elementary School. We had an educational day at our church in which we invited the staff, the superintendent, and the children and families to our church to recognize them. And also we participated in several events at the school. And we want to do more. As a matter of fact, we used to adopt a school in Taylor, Michigan. But then we decided, instead of Taylor, we're coming home to Wayne Westland, because this is where our church is, this is where many of our folks are. And we represent not just Wayne Westland, but we represent southeastern Michigan. And so we're proud of Michigan, we're proud of Wayne, Westland, we're proud of you, Dr. Hope, and we hope and pray that we continue to do the good work. You continue to do the good work. And we're going to support you. We're going to support you. We have you, this board elected you, hired you, and we hope and pray that you stay here and continue to do a good job with these individuals right here. And whatever you need from us, please call me. I'll stand up with you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on agenda items only? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gina Wilson Stewart. I am the president of the Western Wayne County NAACP. And I wanted to just talk about the mentorship and the community engagement that we do at other school districts that we are more than willing to do here at Wayne Westland as well. We have a Let's Talk program where we have the elected officials and community members come in and meet with the students so that they can see what careers are available to them, things they can get involved in, and we would like to offer that up to Wayne Westland as well. We've done it at Westwood School District, Melvindale, River Rouge, as well as Ecorse School District, and the program has really been accepted. The kids are excited about knowing some other extra career fields that they can go into, and they get one-on-one interaction with people who are actually from their neighborhoods. So we would like to offer our services up to you guys as well. All right, and we meet once a month in Garden City, so it's the second Monday of each month, and you guys are more than welcome to come, and we can give you more information on that.
Thank you. Can I get your name again?
Gina Stewart.
Thank you. Okay, is anyone else on agenda items? Okay, moving on to item number 104.18, consent agenda. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mrs. Hines, supported by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. Okay,
Actually,
Ms.
I do have concerns.
Mhm.
I was just wanting to know why some of the people who have resigned are not currently showing up in the resignations.
We did ask on that, and what happens is you have to have your information turned in by a certain time, and if your information isn't turned in by that time, then you'll go on the following agenda. Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you, motion carries. Moving on to item number 105.18, Board of Education Committee reports. Dr. Weaver has the finance report from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. The Finance Committee summary being presented to you tonight. The following is a summary of the Finance Committee meeting of July 24, 2018. The Finance Committee met on Tuesday, July 24, 2018, from 10 a.m. until 10:52 a.m. Board trustees present were Tom Buckaloo, David Cox, and Fred Weaver. Dr. Shelley Holt, Superintendent Jim Larson-Scheidler, Chief Financial and Operations Officer Linda Kempton, EDD, Interim for Jim Larson-Scheidler, Tony Spizak, Executive Director, Gino Montaigne, Supervisor of Energy Management, Carrie Matzik, Administrative Assistant, Paul Wills from Cressa, and Kevin Hardy from the City of Wayne were also in attendance. The committee met and discussed the purchase of HYPE from the City of Wayne and the boundary line divisions between HYPE and Franklin Middle School. Jim Larson-Scheidler presented the resolution, bus description, and payment schedule for us to finance the 10 buses that we are currently leasing. Main Street Contracting Incorporated was awarded the Wayne Memorial High School water main replacement bid, a local-owned business coming in at the lowest bid. Plant Moran Cressa will go before the board for approval to become the Wayne Westland School Owners Representation for the 2018 bond. Paul Wills from Cressa shared the AE costs proposal summary from French Associates and TMP Architecture regarding their numbers for K-12 construction. French Associates and TMP Architecture were interviewed and gave presentations expressing their expertise in K-12 renovations. That completes the reading of the report.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. At this time, we'll move to item number 106.18, review and approval of human resource items. Ms. Simmons, I believe you have 3 items. We'll start with item A, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I present to you for review and approval of Ms. Robin Meeks for position of Director of Program Evaluation and Resource Management. On page 20, you will find her data sheet. She has a Bachelor's of Science with a major in Finance from Wayne State University, a Master of Business Administration from the University of Phoenix. She has experience with Wayne State University as a financial aid officer, Wayne State University as an accountant, and then she has a number of years with Detroit Public Schools in various supervisor and director programs in their finance department.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. At this time, I'll take a motion.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Cox. Any support?
Support.
Support by Mrs. Hines. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Ms. Robin Meeks, is she in the? Hi. Welcome to the Wayne Westland family.
Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity to be a part of Wayne Westland, All-American City. I am so enthusiastic about this position and being part of the change. I look forward to increasing academic achievement as well as improving student behavior. This is a positive move, and I'm very, very enthusiastic, and thank you again.
Thank you. Ms. Meeks, did you bring anyone with you from your family or anything?
Unfortunately, I did not.
Okay, it's okay. We just want you, you're becoming a part of a new family, and so we want to know everyone that's a part of that family.
Well,
So
thank
once
you.
again, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Simmons, item B, please.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. I present to you for review and approval for the Director of Special Education, Nicole Moore. Her data sheet can be found on page 21. Nicole has a Bachelor of Arts from Grand Valley State University, a Master of Arts from the University of Phoenix, Master of Education from the University of Phoenix, her Director of Special Education approval from Grand Valley State, and an Education Specialist from the University of Michigan. Her work experiences include administration with Redford Union Schools, Southgate Community Schools, also as an assistant principal and a principal, and most recently, the regional special ed supervisor with Plymouth Canton Community Schools.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hines,
Support.
support by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Ms. Moore? Hi, how are you? Welcome to the Wayne Westland family.
Thank you. Good evening. I guess I can share a couple things about me. I'm entering my 20th year as an educator. I know it seems a long time, but I am a teacher at heart, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to enter into your community as a family member, as you said, Ms. Walker. So as Dr. Harris stated, as the state of Michigan, we have work ahead of us, but I am confident that as a community, as a team, as a department, that we can successfully achieve ensuring quality program and services for our students with IEPs. So thank you so much this evening, and I look forward to supporting the community.
Okay. And did you bring anyone with you?
No, not this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Thank
Once
you.
again, welcome to the family. Item C, please.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. I present to you for review and approval Dina Pringle as the principal of Graham Elementary School. Dina possesses a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Detroit Mercy, as well as a Master of Arts from Eastern Michigan University. She has served as an 8th grade ELA teacher and an academic specialist with National Heritage Academies, and also as their middle school dean. Currently, Dina is serving as the assistant principal at our own Franklin Middle School. So we're excited for the recommendation to move her to Graham.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll take a motion.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Hines,
Support.
supported by Dr. Weaver. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Ms. Pringle?
Good evening, Madam President, to the board officials and Superintendent Hope. Thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve in Wayne Westland. I'll take the opportunity to spread some good news. When I came here 3 years ago, I fell in love with this community, so I'm excited to continue to serve here in Wayne Westland. I'm going to miss my Franklin staff. I see a lot of them out here. And I am so excited to join PD Graham. I've heard nothing but great things about the staff, the students, and the community. So PD Graham, thank you again for this opportunity.
Okay. So technically, you've already been a part of the family for 3 years, but I know that you'll do well over at PD Graham, and we welcome you over there, and I know you're up for the challenge. Did you bring someone with you?
I did.
Invite your okay. Because family is an important background too. This is how we're able to do our work. Without family supporting us, it would be a hard task to toe. So we appreciate you. Thank you. All right, I think that was all for you. So moving on to item number 107.18, review and approval of business services and finance items. Mr. Larson Schuyler, and
Okay,
I believe you have a couple, about 5 on your.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be a while.
That's okay. Take your time.
All right. Thank you, President Walker. The bus installment purchase, based on financial constraints and the need for safe and dependable student transportation, the district started leasing buses in 2013-14 as replacements for buses purchased with the 1998 bond issue. Administration discussed additional leases of 10 buses for the 18-19 school year at the January meeting. The buses have been delivered, and it is time for approval of the funding. Funding through Mercedes-Benz is a 3-year term that allows for an option of annual purchase price. This was reviewed with the board's finance committee. The alternative to this financing would be to expend general funds for a outright purchase.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cox, supported by Ms. Hines. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item B, please.
Okay, thank you again. The district's infrastructure is old and starting to really show its weakness. Replacement of the water main is a high priority at Wayne Memorial High School to avoid potential school issues during the school year. This was bid out twice. The first bid was opened and where we received, was actually not opened, where we received 1 bid. We rebid it. We received 2 bids, and upon opening those, we selected the lowest responsible bidder. This expenditure is from sinking funds and was reviewed by the Finance Committee.
At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hines. Any support?
Support.
Support by Dr. Weaver. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item C, please.
Okay, thank you again. This is owner's representative. We issued a request for a proposal to owner's representatives that we know of July 2nd for management related to future bond issue. RFPs were sent to 4 firms known to perform these services. We received 1 bid from Plant Moran Cressa. Services will be at 1.95% for construction services and 2.25%, which would include technology. I recommend approval of the 2.25 fee to include technology.
Okay. At this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cox.
Support.
Support by Ms. Hines. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
No.
And Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show, is it 4-1?
4-1, yes.
4-1.
Motion carries. Item D, please.
Okay, thank you. This item is for architectural engineering design services for the 2018 bond proposal. Based on board approval at the June board meeting, we contracted with Plant Moran Cressa to assist us with process of selecting architectural engineering firms for the 2018 bond proposal. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Wills from Plant Moran Cressa, who led the RFP process and interviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Larson-Scheidler, and Madam President, Board Trustees, Dr. Holt, good evening. In step with the Wayne-Westland Community Schools Strategic Plan for Capital Planning and the upcoming 2018 bond proposal, in your board packet you have a recommendation letter from Plant Moran Cressa as we finalize the architectural engineering RFP process. If you remember at the April 9th, 2018 meeting, because of the size and the complexity of the bond program, it's recommended to have actually multiple architectural firms and construction management firms. This does several things. One, it minimizes the district's risk profile, but also ensures timely delivery as these projects are being taken place over the summer for the majority of the projects. For those that may not be aware, there's actually 21 total projects in the $158 million bond program. On June 25th, we were engaged to issue the request for qualifications and proposals. On July 2nd, we sent that to 10 professional architectural and engineering firms who specialize in the educational sector. On July 18th, proposals we received were from 6 firms. Those were opened actually in the business office with myself, Mr. Larson-Scheidler, Mr. Spisak, and others from the business offices. Over the next several days, those proposals were reviewed. We're looking at several items, including their K-12 renovation experience, their airs and emissions, their STEM renovation experience, the proposed professional team, relative mechanical, electrical, plumbing work, and also financial information as well as proposed fees. So it's not just a fee consideration going forward. We did do a finance update on the 24th, and interviews were held subsequently shortly thereafter, and were attended by the interview panel of Mr. Buckaloo, Mr. Cox, Dr. Weaver, as well as Mr. Larson-Scheidler, Mr. Spisak, Mr. Montaigne, Ms. Carrie Matzik, and myself for the interview panel. TMP was interviewed, as well as French Associates. And upon completion of the interviews and subsequent clarifications, Plant Moran Cressa is recommending that TMP Architecture is the recommended architectural engineering firm for the bond programs related to the 2 high schools, the Career Tech Center, as well as the middle school projects. Secondly, we're recommending that French Associates is the architectural engineering firm for the 9 elementary schools. In your board rec package, you'll see that TMP's proposed contract amount is 5.45 of total cost of construction, and French Associates is 5.25 of proposed contract amount of cost of work. Both firms have been in business for over 40 years. They are providing senior leadership from their team. They've completed very similar large bond programs throughout Southeast Michigan, most recently with Plymouth Canton and Livonia schools. Their proposed engineers have extensive work within the district. And at this time, we are recommending that the Board of Education would approve to enter into the professional services contract for pre-bond planning, of which both firms are charging no money for those services leading up to the November bond. At this time, I'd like to turn back over to President Walker and the board.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'll take a motion.
Move to accept.
So moved by Dr. Weaver, supported by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
No.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 4-1.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. And the last one, E, please.
All right, thank you
Thank you so
again.
much.
Drum roll, please. This is coming up to what we've all been waiting for, is the ballot language to place the bond issue on the ballot, November 6th. This will be, you have the ballot language, it's for 4.48 mils. Part of this will be in 3 phases. As Mr. Wills has stated, we'll start with the high schools. That will be the first phase. Middle schools and elementaries will be the second phase. And then the elementaries and other buildings will be the last phase. So it will be, you will see now a lot of construction the first year. There'll be a lot of roofs and a lot of those type of things. But this is much needed. We are spending a lot of money on just repairing items that are 50 years old and older on buildings. So something that the district desperately needs to upgrade our transportation, technology, and buildings.
Before we take the vote, does the resolution have to be read into the records?
No.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll take a motion.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Hines.
Support.
Support by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you again, Mr.
Thank you.
In Mrs. Madell's absence, I will present to you, everyone should have a copy of her Head Start report. And by federal law, we have to put it into the record that we received it as a motion. So at this time, I'll take a motion to accept the Head Start monthly report.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Hines, supported by Mr. Cox. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes. Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Let the record show 5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 109.18, Superintendent Report. Dr. Holt.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I would like to thank everyone from our community for taking the time out of their busy schedules to come tonight. I see many of my teachers out here off of your break, and please go back home and enjoy the rest of your time because we got a lot of work to do. Just saying. But I really, truly appreciate you coming out tonight. It truly shows how much we as a community care about this district. We care about our babies. We want to make sure that they are getting the best education humanly possible, and that is more than what we can do here at Wayne Westland. We can do so much more than what we're doing, and we will. And we're going to do this together. I want to let everyone know that I'm still pushing for it, and we have a team that is continuously talking about getting more of our community involved with our schools. Each school we would like to see adopted by a community organization, a faith-based organization, and a financial institution. There are a multitude of reasons for having those partnerships, but at the end of the day, mentorship and our community being involved in our schools can do nothing but shoot our scores up and have our community feeling more connected. And it also helps our teachers and our educators at all levels know we're here and we support you. That could be as simple as once a month coming and bringing a box of tissues. Or it could be more where you're reading to a class once a month or twice a year or whatever it is that you can do to come in and support us. Our kids need to see that we are a united community. Our kids need to see that we care about them. This year we are going to focus on processes, systems, and procedures here centrally. You saw the data on our turnover. I was gonna say turnaround, but that's a different conversation. You saw the data on our turnover. And one of the things, while I may not be able to put a stop on it immediately as an organization, what we do have to do is make sure our systems, processes, and procedures here in the district are such that no matter who is sitting in whatever seat, we can continue to do business. And that the business that happens at one school is the same way as it happens at another school. Right now, there's been a lot of fluidity within that, and it's caused some consternation within the organization. Folks do things one way at one school, do something the same way or different at another school, and it gives that feeling of favoritism where you like this person more than you do this one. And in actuality, it's just that we don't have a process for that. And so without processes, systems, and procedures, it can be very, very challenging to run an organization. So we're going to focus on that. We have many new programs launching next year that are just totally fabulous for kids. One of them I'm excited about is the Here Comes the Bus app. And the reason I'm excited about that is because we get a lot of calls at the end of the day going, where's the bus? It didn't get here, or it's too early, or it was too late, or whatever it is that happens. We know traffic is not something we can control, but now having an app where we can, as parents, know where the bus is going to be really critical for us moving forward. So we're very excited about that. I want to remind our community to register your students, including myself. We need to, even if you have kids that are still in the district, you have to re-register them. Part of that is for accounting purposes, but the other part of it is we need to have correct phone numbers and emails, folks. Right. We have got to be able to reach our community, not just in a case of emergency, but in any situation. If we want to keep track of your students' grades, attendance, or if we need to talk to you about how we can work together to solve behavioral concerns. And let me tell you, as a parent of a student who had some pretty serious behavior concerns moving through the year, I can tell you our teachers really do focus on getting the right solutions for our kids. We really want to work together with our families to move forward. It is not an oppositional relationship, but it can become very strained for our teachers if they're trying to find you. They're already dealing with a situation, and then on top of it, not being able to get in contact with a parent, a guardian, a family member. And if you work or you have things that you have to do during the day, assign someone else, ask someone else to help you out. There's always a neighbor. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I say it also takes a village to educate a child. And so we have to really come together. And as a working mother, I know sometimes it's very hard. There are times when I can't get away and I have to call on someone to help me with my kids. That's okay. Get those resources now. Start getting your phone numbers now of the people that can help and support you, and register your kids so that we can reach you and if we need your support. Tomorrow starts bond planning. You heard that we're going to put it on the ballot measure today. Tomorrow we start planning. So if you have those yellow forms and you want to be part of the decision making around that bond, sign up for the bond committee or any one of the other committees that you're interested in. We have student activities, we have staff recruitment and retention. If you're sitting back there with some ideas on how to retain staff, bring them to the table. We want to hear them. This is our school district, our community, and we have to take it back so that we can truly move forward. I will also say thank you to our social workers and our counselors who have been working, many of whom have been working over the summer to help with a lot of the climate and culture work. They are preparing a really robust training schedule for our climate and culture coaches, and know that, because I have heard some consternation, well, some of these folks have degrees, some of them don't. Really we're focusing on people that want to do right by our kids. And that work is going to be led by our social workers and counselors who will now have an extra arm at the school site to help deal with some of the challenges that our kids come with. Because some of it is behavior is our kids' way of telling us that something is wrong. When they're acting up, they're saying, I need help. They don't have the words or the cognitive ability many times to manage those emotions. Heck, we know adults sometimes have challenges managing emotions. Imagine when you're having those emotions and you're 7. And so we have to work with our kids around that, and I cannot thank, and I don't know exactly who is on the committee, I just know we have social workers, counselors, and psychologists that are working together to put that training program together. I am going to ask, family doesn't always get along. I'm just going to say it. We're a family. And at times, a family member may or may not do something, or we may not know what's going on with another family member. It is imperative at all levels of the organization, and this goes for us as parents, it goes for us as community members, it goes for our leaders at all levels of the district. It is imperative that we read to lead. You have to read to lead. As an avid reader myself, I read everything that can possibly come by my hands. And sometimes I read it right, sometimes I don't read it so right, but we have to read to lead. And it's a challenge right now as we're putting information out into the community or even within our internal community that folks are saying, oh, well, I don't have time for it, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. We have to read. That's our best and easiest way to get information out. If you have questions, we encourage you to ask and go to the source. We have been and will be sending out information via email, snail mail, so you'll get your connections again, flyers, and we also share information on Google Drives. Even as a board, we operate with a Google Drive. We must be vigilant in our responsibility to be and stay informed. And if you don't know, ask. Ask. I get a lot of messages on the little Facebook app. I'm still kind of learning this whole Facebook thing, but I get a lot of questions, and those questions, when you send them to Superintendent Holt, they go directly to Jenny Johnson or to Tamara Phoenix. And at times I'll get in there. If I know the answer, I'll answer it immediately. But we want to keep everyone informed. So it's imperative that if there's something going on and it just doesn't quite sound right, go ahead and ask. We'll tell you if we can, and we'll also let you know if we can't share that information. I also want to thank you, Jim Larson-Scheidler, thank you for everything you have done for this district. I really do appreciate you and appreciate the work you've done for us here in Wayne Westline over the years. Thank you. I know you're going to do fabulous, and I wish you and your family the best. And I'll leave by saying we are getting very excited about the new year starting up, and we hope to see everybody on August 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Holt. At this time, we'll go to item number 110.18, citizen comments. Again, you have 3 minutes. If you line up on the side of here, we can take you. And please, if you remember to fill out a note. So is there anyone who has citizen comments? Okay. You can just leave it on the podium and we'll get that at the end, yes. And please state your name, please.
My name is Heather Hunt, and I'm a longtime Wayne Westland parent. My current concern is my 3rd grade tag student. We've talked a lot tonight about being involved and getting on committees and moving forward. I spent 6 months on a committee for the tag program this school year, excuse me. We're talking about busing for our tag students. 6 months we worked, we talked, these are the programs, these are the plans, these are the options. The very last meeting we were told, we're not going with any of those things that you talked about, we're doing something different. 2 weeks ago I get an email that there's a really good likelihood that my kid doesn't have a bus to ride to the tag program in a month. That's a problem. We're working parents. My kid needs that service. I get it, tag doesn't fall under a special education program in the state of Michigan, but those kids are special ed kids and they have a special requirement. She needs to be at that program every day, not just my kid, but all of those kids in those programs. We have families in this district who don't have cars. How are they going to get their tag kids to this program if they can't get there because the busing has been pulled for that program? It's a problem. I don't like it. There are tag programs in other districts. If I have to drive my kid, why do I have to drive her here? I can drive her somewhere else. It's a problem.
Thank you. Anyone else? Citizen comments?
Hello. My name is Amber Spooler. I do not have a blue sheet, so I will have to give that to you later.
Okay, no problem.
I am a proud parent of a 4th grader going into 5th grader, or going to be a 5th grader. Sorry, I'm not used to this style of talking. My concern tonight is I have an incoming special education's kindergartner. And I need to understand what sort of environment he's coming into, because it sounds like it's in disarray. And to me, as a parent with an incoming kid, I have a choice, even before school starts, that if we don't have topics and a plan now, how am I going to set my kid up for success if the school district is not prepared and set up to rebound from what has just happened? Are we not at loss for administrators in special education? Is that something that I'm unaware of?
So if you're done with your statement,
No,
someone's
I'm
gonna
not,
okay.
but I just, there's no way there's any allowed for conversation at this point. I just get to open, oh, here, give me the mic. Ooh, hello. I just, as a concerned parent, I just would like to not have to put all my concerns on a piece of paper that everyone else probably has the same question about, give or take. And I think we all would prefer an answer at some point to have an idea of what the plan is and how to better address it. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we go to the next person, just so everyone knows that we will get the questions, even if you didn't write it, we know. If it's something that we feel that everyone has a concern, either way, it's going to be addressed either in something that'll go out before the meeting or it'll be addressed at the next meeting, but it'll definitely be addressed. So it won't be addressed right now. but it will be addressed. Anyone else? Oh, you just saying bye? Okay. Okay. All right. So before I close comments, okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Winflo Kelly. My concern is I'm a resident in Wayne, and my student also is a West End and Wayne Community School. My concern is about the parking for Wayne Memorial. The students have to pay for parking, so therefore they are impeding driveway for residents that reside in the city of Wayne. That's one of my concerns. And the next one that I have is I'm sorry. The next thing that I have is the security on the premises for the students. When something happened at the school premises, they call the Wayne West End police officers on the students versus direct contact with, I would say, the parents to resolve the issues or the school to take the initiative to resolve the issue. When I was in school, when we had a problem, we had security on the premises. Because I've gone to Franklin Middle School a couple of times where I see the teachers or the staff are the ones trying to, separate a fight between the students. So those teachers have been pulled away from the teaching and actually to resolve an issue where they can actually get hurt because they have to secure, for the safety reasons. They have one safety officer on the premises of over 2,500 students. So my concern for next year is to have more security on the premises versus the state police or the local police officers, but actually hire security officers to resolve these issues. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Any other concerns? So if we have any more, just so if you line up so I can see and know. Moving on to the next person.
Hi. For those that don't know me, I did fill out a blue sheet, by the way, but it was in the hallway. My name is Amy G. I'm the principal at Hicks Elementary. I felt it was time to speak. I'm concerned about my timer, so I'm going to go quick. First and foremost, I came to Wayne Westland 2 years ago, and I am so proud to be here, and I have zero interest in ever leaving. I absolutely love the way I've been treated from the moment I started until even today. I know moving forward, our district is working extremely hard on moving, most importantly, our students as well as our teachers and other staff. I'm becoming very concerned about social media in the community. I'm hearing the board talking about many opportunities for our community to come in and support our schools. I would like to address the fact that I'm not sure if people recognize, but when you're on the district Facebook page, Dr. Holt has offered several times for coffee and conversations with the superintendent. That is the place to address concerns. It is not to post negativity on social media. I'm going to tell you why. As angry as the comments on social media make me, the word to describe it is truly devastating. It's devastating reading grown adults typing negative comments about our district, its leaders, and most importantly, its students. I cannot fathom that there are people talking so hurtful about our most at-risk youth or our school of choice students, etc. Are you aware that these children read these? Are you aware that all children deserve the right to a great education? Aren't you so happy that we have the students that we have in this district, or the ones that are coming in for a good education, because that's what you get here in Wayne Westland, is an excellent education. I know what you're thinking, the bad kids interrupt your angel in class. Well, let me tell you this for free. We have some of the most dedicated, hardworking staff among our babies in this district, and you just saw their salaries. We are working to mentor these children and give our most at-risk babies the love they need outside of their home. I can promise you that some of our children have endured so much more heartache than most of you adults in this room. Stop your talk, stop your negativity, start your help. Start being a cheerleader. Oh boy. I joined Wayne Westland 2 years ago. I was charged by Dr. Harmala, our previous superintendent, to go into Hicks Elementary and flip it. Hicks Elementary was known as, quote, the stepchild, as I was told when I was hired in. Other positions became available, and people said, hey, gee, you don't have to work there. There's other openings for other principals. I refused to leave. During the year of change, my first year of 2016, I lost 9 staff because, as Dr. Holt clearly indicated, the only people that like change is a baby with a wet diaper. I lost 9 teachers during that year because I expected more, and the work was just different. We were shifting the work, and it needed to be done. After that shift, I am proud to say that I have retained 93% of my staff after year 2, as well as after that change. We've also come off of the the state of Michigan priority list because of said change. Thank you. I shared this information because of how when the right changes turn things around. We welcome all students at Hicks, even the highest behaviors. In closing, I have to say this. Mr. Gochi, I'm disheartened that you had to rush out right after your 3 minutes. As the principal of Hicks Elementary, I would like to tap into the passion you just indicated that you have in our district. I would like to redirect your negative energy and invite you and all of your friends to come to Hicks Elementary and help mentor our most at-risk youth. I promise our precious students will teach you a lot more than you're learning in your real estate business. Dr. Holt, I want to address you personally as one of your school leaders in this district. It is important that you know that you have an army of people behind you and supporting you and the work that you have brought to this district. The ones that choose to leave have chosen to work in affluent school districts, and that is perfectly fine, and I can stand here today and wish every single one of those wonderful people well. The path is now clear to our goals for our students, and I'm thrilled to work for a district and, most importantly, a superintendent that puts students first. Thank you. And I'm sorry I went over.
Do I have anyone else? Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Tina Domagalski. I've been teaching in the district for a while, but I'm also a product of the district. So I've been around quite a long time. I sat in the audience of many, many school board meetings as a child, so I'm back. Try to attend as often as I can, but I don't as often as I want to. As I sat and I'm hearing some of these, I've heard some rumors, and I feel like I just need to come and ask something. As far as school of choice students that come to our district, I'd like to know what criteria is used when they are accepted into our school. I kind of hear about deadlines, but then I kind of feel like deadlines aren't deadlines because I feel like we take kids in all the time. While I agree all kids deserve an education, I sometimes feel like you also need to follow the rules and have some sort of criteria. So I would like to know from the board, superintendent, someone, what criteria we use for school of choice children. And I'd also like to know how I'm going to get the answer to this question. Because you say that we'll get it out there, we'll get it to you. I'd like to specifically know, how am I going to know the answer? And how am I going
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm finished. So I'm waiting for an answer to that last question.
So all the questions that are asked will be in the superintendent's report in the next meeting.
The superintendent's report goes where?
When she gives her report,
okay,
we will have those, moving forward, we will have those answered in her superintendent report.
And where is the superintendent's report found so that I can, is it in writing? Is it typed up? Is it published somewhere?
Well, she puts one out this week in Westland. It'll be in there. But how we had this meeting at the school board meeting and she does her superintendent report, she will report on every question.
So it's going to be in writing.
Point of order, somewhere. Madam President,
No,
we need to
she's
be,
through speaking.
We need to be very careful about answering questions, please.
So just know that it'll be that question there because that's one that
so
everybody
where do I
wants.
need to go to get the answer, I guess is what I'm answering.
So You're not gonna get it right now.
Oh, I understand that.
But because school of choice is a big thing, it will be acknowledged so that everyone will know in her report that she verbally gives, like the one she gave
Verbally
before.
gives.
Yes.
And
as well as in her report that she
a written
gives.
report.
Yes.
Okay, I don't live in Wayne Westland, so how can I see or get these?
So we'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, I want to complete my comment since the crowd reacted to it. I think it's not proper to answer the questions for some and not others.
Okay. Yes,
that's
you
where
are.
that's where I'm coming from.
You are
Thank
correct,
you.
Dr. Weaver. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Tanya Karpinski, and I felt obligated, or not necessarily obligated, but had the desire to want to address the board tonight. I am the UNISERV director for Wayne Westland Schools. As you saw, many of the slides with the different union groups represented, I represent, not most, but I represent the Teachers Union, Local 4, BOSS, and WISA groups within the district. In regards to what the Hicks principal stated and a lot of the agenda comments tonight, I think it's quite clear that there's been a lot of social media discussion. I think that has a lot to do with the new placement of the board meeting tonight and the number of people in attendance. I would like to state that as the union representative for all of the bargaining groups that are represented by MEA, we are quite excited about the new financial situation the district is in. Since it's about 3 times the amount that we were told in our last round of negotiations, we needed to maintain in order to keep a financial manager away from the state. We are very much looking forward to the part that keeps being said about the attraction and retention of quality staff. So we would want to say that. We would also add, as I met with the exec board for the teachers tonight, we didn't want to engage in social media. I've had a few teachers that have, but have stated that they will be here for the students. That has always been our interest, is to represent the students in the district and to serve with the utmost capability from all staff. If you would have put the charts up there for the support staff on the salaries, you would have seen the same type of disparity in what the employee groups receive here in Wayne Westland compared to neighboring districts. I am disheartened by that. I truly hope that the comments made almost at every board meeting and from what I've heard for almost 4 years now of being here in the district and representing these groups, that it is truly the intent to give the money back to the employees and to pay them a decent wage so that they can be retained here in the district, and we look forward to that occurring. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing none, moving on to item number 111.18, review and recommendations. Ms. Madison.
I would like to thank Jim Larson-Schuyler for his service. It's going to be very different here without you. And I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say in your parting ways. I know you won't be at our next board meeting, so.
In spirit.
Take care and enjoy your journey moving forward.
Thanks.
And thank you everyone for showing up tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Mr. Cox.
I'd additionally like to thank everyone for being here tonight. It's very gratifying, and as you've heard from the superintendent's report and also what Jim Larson-Schuyler has to say, we've been dealing with several major issues all at the same time. And one of the major issues, as a person that was here 20 years ago when we put the bond language on that really took this district, gave it a firm financial future for a period of 20 years, to be now back here dealing with the same thing essentially, knowing that for the last 20 years, the district, even though we haven't been awash in money, we've always been responsible with the money. Our budgets are balanced. We are able to attract the kind of investment percentages based upon our stewardship of these finances. And Jim, I'd like to thank you not only for the job that you've done for the district, but also the fact that you've done 2 jobs for the district. I don't know when we lost Dave, but you've been doing the work of 2+ people for better than a year and a half. So thank you very much for that effort and for helping the Board of Education stay where we need to be in terms of our finances. And moving forward, even though there will be a lot more information about the bond issue moving forward, as Jim said tonight, the millage projection is less, actually, than we had 20 years ago. So the Board of Education has been working very hard on that. We do have some declining enrollment, and we have to look at how we can be efficient and have the educational infrastructure that we need for the students that we actually have, not the students that we used to have. So that's partially the reason. And also I want you to know that security and technology are 2 of the big issues moving forward in our thinking for this bond issue. So it's going to be something that's going to carry us into the future for many years, and we want to make sure it's adequate to do that. And we share your concerns with that. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Ms. Hines?
I'd like to congratulate Ms. Price, Ms. Meeks, Ms. Moore. Thank you for being an addition to our Wayne Westland family. I started out in Wayne Westland from kindergarten all the way through high school, Wayne Westland all the way. My child goes in this district. I believe in this district. I believe in this community, and I'm so glad to see we have clergy members, members of different organizations, family, teachers, staff. And I definitely like to see us work together as a community because, as Dr. Holt said, it takes a village to raise a child. And with all this trauma, that does affect test scores. Poverty. So mentorship is the way, and thank you, Ms. Gina, for offering the mentorship because that's so important. So like I said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. And Mr. Schuyler, I'm going to miss you, and congratulations on your new venture. Keep in touch, and you've done an awesome job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Dr. Weaver?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. First of all, the gentleman said it's too late, it's already on Facebook. Thank you for that. I would hope that you would get the whole meaning of what I said, because this is the kind of thing that causes rifts in our community. I am very concerned about several things. I'm not going to voice them at this meeting, but I will say that I have some concerns, and I will be doing my best going forward to address these concerns. I just want to say the most important part of this is having the opportunity to pass this bond so that we can move forward. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'm not going to go into any further in that, but I will say this. I will say that these mistakes need to be corrected and moving forward. And so that is the gist of my comments tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver. So moving forward, I just want to list, this is my own quote. I'm going to put my own quotes around them. It's nobody else in the community that said it. But please don't let the climate that we're in have an effect on the compassion that you have for others. And with that being said, Dr. Weaver is correct. Sometimes my mind moves a little bit quicker, and when I answered her, it wasn't directly answered to her, it was answered to everyone that came to this podium. I know that one of the things that has came back is that sometimes people feel as if their questions aren't getting answered. So we will make it our business that it is on This Week in Westland and anything else that goes out, but also we'll work with Dr. Holt so that when she gives her report at our meetings each month, the questions that were answered or asked of us will be answered to the best of our ability. And if we still need to do some investigation on it, we will let you know. That's all we can promise. That's what we'll do. As I sit here in this position as board president, I am not perfect, just like anyone else, and we all tend to make mistakes, but I can guarantee you that I am working hard for your children. This is what keeps me up at night. This is what I think about constantly. My whole life is wrapped around service. So one thing I can promise you, I'm gonna always show you the utmost respect. I'm never gonna lie to you the best that I know how. If I tell you something and it came back to not be true, it was a misstep on my half. But other than that, I care for each and every one of you. When I call you family, you are my family, and I mean that. And as long as I sit in this seat, whether I'm president or trustee, I have your best interests at heart, and I mean that. So with that being said, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Cox, supported by Ms. Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.